welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Genealogy with Desi L. Campbell. I am excited tonight because we have the Sand Hills Family Heritage Association Board of Directors as our guest on tonight. We have Janet Brower, who is the chairman of the board. We have Miss Amy Jenkins, who is the executive director, and you have me, myself, Desi L. Campbell, and Doris Lucas, who also serves on the board. So sit back and relax and enjoy tonight's show as we learn how we can preserve our African American history and how we can get involved in this great organization, the Sandhills Family Heritage Organization. With Amy. Amy, tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Abby McCray Jenkins, and to give you a little background, I was born in Harnett County, in a small town, in a little small community called McCray Town, which was founded by my great-grandfather, who was a former slave and a farmer and a turpentine worker in Harnett County. He was one of the first major Black landowners with over 650 acres of land in Harnett County. So I grew up on a farm, and I really love that connection with the land. My whole culture, as far as family culture is concerned, was connected to the land. So that is the reason that I'm pretty passionate about the African American connection to the land, which includes our history, our heritage, the inheritance for our children, our food, our medicine, and our culture, our stories. Our ancestors who were buried on the land, which carries a lot of history.
My name is Desi Campbell. I am also a part of the Sandhills Family Heritage Association. I am originally from Washington, D.C., but my parents are from Harnett and Sampson County. I never, ever, ever wanted to live in the country. When I grew up in D.C. and my parents moved to the country, it was, yeah. And I left the country when I was about 18 and 19 years old and went to college. And I said I would never, ever, ever, ever live in the country. And here I am in the great Harnett County, North Carolina, and it's probably the best move I've ever made.
My name is Janet Brower. I too was born in Harnett County on a farm in a family of 10 children. And my roots have, I guess, drawn me back to the land because I left for 20 years and then came back. But my parents, of course, they really didn't have a choice but to farm because there were no stores in the area. So you had to travel 15 or 20 miles. So farming was just the thing that you did to survive. So on our farm, we each had chores, even as, a young girl. I guess whenever you could walk, you had something to do on the farm. I do recall having to gather, eggs from the chicken coop, had to help plant the crops and tend to the crops and harvest the crops. But those were wonderful days because, truly we were a village. Our families helped one another. They shared the duties of farming. Whenever my dad did not have a day when he had, to bring the tobacco crop in, then we were helping an uncle. Or once you picked cotton, then you helped, another uncle to do the same thing. And then, of course, hog killing time. These are stories that, at the time you thought was the worst thing to do. And you wanted to get as far away from the farm as you could, but I'm back. And even this year, trying my hand, my husband and I, with the garden. So it's amazing how life comes full circle. But I'm glad to be a part of this organization.
My name is Doris Lucas, and I belong to the Sandhills Family Heritage Association. And I was born in Harnett County and grew up on a farm where there were 13 of us. And actually, we had a lot of fun. Although we were very poor, we didn't know that we were poor. Our parents made life so interesting that we were able to escape that until we got older. But at any rate, I joined the Sandhill Association some 10, well, when it first started, and I think that was back in like 2001. And I have been pretty active in the organization since then.
All right, Janet Brower, what is the name of this organization?
This organization is Sandhills Family Heritage Association. It is a community-based 501c3 organization. And it provides programs and services to improve the quality of life in undeserved communities in the Sandhills, which is a number of counties, including Cumberland, Moore, Harnett, and Lee counties.
All right. Janet, what is the purpose of this organization?
You know, this organization has several purposes, but the main purpose is that of service, okay, and service to people. We do this in a number of ways through different programs, but I must tell you that I've been a part of the organization for a while, and this organization and its programs and purpose still evolves. It changes as the community's needs changes and as the community's citizens change as well. But know that our mission is to build economic self-sufficiency, to protect the land and livelihoods of its citizens, to preserve cultural heritage, and to promote health and wellness. And as I said before, we do this through the different programs. A few of these include the free community education workshops that we do. The most recent one was a financial management and protection of assets workshop. Tremendous information that was provided by those in the financial and the banking fields. Another very important program that we have, and it's one that really has come about because, again, as the needs of the people, the community came about, and that is our mobile food pantry that we're very proud of. And this is made possible through our partnership with the Dunn Lillington AME Zion district churches. Food is made available to those who are having food shortages and just, emergencies due to weather as well as the current COVID-19 pandemic that we're in. Another program that Sandhills has is the African American Heritage Tours. You know, this area is so very rich in history, and that history needs to be documented or preserved. So that is one of the things that the organization does. It also must, this history must be taught and it must be passed down. So we do that through historical reenactments. We do documentations. We have recorded some of our elders. So our work goes on. Our work goes on. It is just not something that can be told in one setting. Okay.
All right. We're going to start. Amy, can you tell us how long has this organization been formed?
This organization was formed in January of 2001 We will soon be celebrating our 20th anniversary come 2021. So the organization has been around for almost 20 years.
All right. What are some of the initiatives that the organization sponsors?
Well, the organization started with the oral histories that I had conducted with most of the community elders that were in my immediate environment. And they told such wonderful stories that I thought these stories need to be shared. So that is how the organization was formed, based on the stories and the histories that the elders shared with me. So it became an organization where we could bring in all members of the community who wanted to join the organization to share their stories. So we do have an oral history collection that that archives or documents the stories that we started with the community elders. So the community elders, this organization is built on the stories and experience of the community elders. So the oral history collection is one of the initiatives. And another initiative, and this was when the organization first started, were community, the community education workshops. These workshops where anyone in the community was welcome to join us to talk about their connections to the land. It was all about preserving our history, our heritage, and connection to the land. So the free workshops, that was one initiative. And another initiative was the Sankofa Festival, where we wanted to share our history, our heritage, and our culture with people who wanted to visit us and learn more about African American history in the Sandhills. So the festival provided an opportunity for the local performing as well as visual artists who would come in and they could share their information at the festival. And we also had vendors, people who could come in, small businesses and other people who wanted to share their business with other people who came from around the state and some of them from out of state to share in our culture. We also had another initiative is the Sandhills Farmers Market in Spring Lake on Chapel Hill Road. This is on property that was donated to the organization. And we will be talking about that particular site later on. We also had the heritage tours, which I think Janet touched on earlier. And one of the projects and initiatives was the Promised Land Project, where we worked with landowners and farmers in connecting them with resources to help them gain a larger harvest from their crops and their land, talking about how they could make more money from the land and use sustainable farming techniques. We also connected them with resources, community resources that their taxpayer dollars, these were free things that they didn't know about. So we were helping the farmers connect with those resources. We also have an initiative that's called the Heritage Keepers. We wanted to preserve this, the Heritage Keepers. These are the people who are still practicing different types of things that their ancestors did, and that's been carried from generation to generation, and they are still practicing these traditions today. And we also had a beginning farmers apprenticeship project where we were able to bring in high school students to learn about how to farm and to reintroduce them to their heritage by getting them to go out and learn how to plant gardens and how to farm. And they started from the planting and growing crops. They were also able to harvest these crops and take them to our farmers market where they were able to sell and learn customer services at the farmers market.
So, Miss Janet Browser, could you tell us about the Sankofa Youth?
Okay. The Sankofa Youth is an organization that, or part of Sandhills Family Heritage Association. Youth have always been a very important part of SFHA. It is important to us that we share knowledge and we share the wisdom of our elders with our youth so that that knowledge and that wisdom can be survived and it can be preserved. Our Sankofa youth are middle schoolers and high schoolers. They're also part of the 4-H club. When they become members of Sankofa Youth, they also become 4-H members. And these young people are involved with service projects. They have helped with food distribution. They have made gifts for those in nursing homes. They are led by a director, Shanae Winborn, who is also a biologist. So she's taught them about herbs and about gardening. They are learning how to become good public speakers. Leadership development is also a very important part of what they are involved with as well. They are learning how to interview elderly. There are also two other leaders that I did not mention, Pam Marks and Marie Smith, as well as Liz Adams, also work with our Sankofa youth. Know that they do have their own Facebook page. So at some point, check out what they're doing because they're very excited to be a part of this organization. And we look for great things for them in the future because they're continuing to learn every day, our young men as well as our young women.
Number one is anyone can join this organization. We focus on African American history and heritage, but anyone other than, it doesn't have to be just African Americans. We have all people of all races and age groups who are members of the organization. And we do, everything that we do is to protect our community assets. And one of the things that we provide is volunteer opportunities for anyone who has a skill or they have experience that they want to share and leave as part of their legacy. They can come to the organization, they can schedule tours for their tour groups, they can get involved that way. They can sponsor fundraising events. They can also support our local farmers market, which opens in June and is open from June through September. So we hope they will support our local farmers market. They can give donations to support our work. If they just want to donate their time or their finances, then we will are grateful for that. They can also rent space at any of the special events that we have, such as the festival, the farmers market, heritage tours, when we bring in people who are coming in to tour our site. They can also set up as vendors there. And they can just become a member of the organization where they just want to know what is happening and learn about what is going on in the community. And we do have many members who were part of this Sandhills community, but they are now living out of state. So they become members of the organization just so they can keep up with what is going on in the community. And they can do this through our website. That's sandhillsfamilyheritage.org. Go to our website and they can see our newsletters. We do a newsletter every other month that keeps the people up to date on what is happening in the community and what the organization is doing.
First, we have a dental clinic that we do. We try to get our members in who do not have health insurance. And right now, we're at a standstill as we are in everything else because of the coronavirus. But we do continue to do certain things as far as letting people know uh, food that they should eat. And this is the main thing. We tried to have our program set up so we would have workshops to inform people who had diabetes and other ailments that we might be able to influence them to eat a better diet. And that's the main thing that we've tried to do. We also had exercise programs. We had a walking club. And once the walking club sort of narrowed down, we started doing chair exercises. And doing these exercises, the whole community, everyone around us is involved if they wish to be. And we do that at Bethel Church, which is our partner, one of our partners to Sandhill. And these exercises help people to control their balance, diabetes, and arthritis. We also have other activities and do workshops on STDs and AIDS awareness. We do workshops also to tie that together, food and nutrition, and help everyone balance and control their cholesterol. We even have from Better Health of Fayetteville comes out. This is one of our main resources, and give a program to show people the foods that they could eat in their everyday diet to help control their cholesterol, which will eventually lead to heart attacks, influence their diabetes. So those are the type things that we try to cover. The other area that I have a great interest in is preserving African American history. And we do that by doing reenactments of slavery. And in that, we tell stories which have been researched so that you will getting the truth. We research the stories and then we reenact them. And we do storytelling and actual plays. Each year we always perform in the African American a month of February. We usually perform 2 or 3 times in different places. We also do Christmas performances.
All right. So my understanding is that there is a Spring Lake Civic Center. Could someone tell us about the restoration project that is going on with the Spring Lake Civic Center?
Okay, the Spring Lake Civic Center is a site, when we talk about a center, we are talking about the building as well as the property that that building sits on. Okay, the building is a building of historical significance. The town of Spring Lake aldermen voted unanimously to declare this building a building of historical significance, not only to the town of Spring Lake, but to Cumberland County. And we want to preserve that building because it's been passed down through generations, and it was there before, it was there during segregation. And there were a lot of meetings and activities that were held at this site that we wanted to preserve the building and to continue to use it for activities that would serve the community. And this is a site where we made this a heritage tourism site where people can come in and learn about the history of African Americans in the community. We have a renovation project that is going on now. We're in the process of renovating that building. And it is a historical building. And at this point, we have to renovate in phases because the first phase, phase one, and if you go to our website, you will see the renovation project for this building, and it will show the different phases. And phase one had to do with the replacement of the roof because the roof was leaking. So we have replaced the roof, and now we are looking for individuals and groups that can help us go to phase two, which is replacing the windows and the doors and painting that building so that we can get it to a point where we can start doing the activities in the building where we will use this as an office space for our organization. It will also be an archive for our oral history collection.
What is it that you want the listeners to know uh, about this organization?
I would like the listeners to know that Sandhills Family Heritage Association is such a unique organization, but it has the most wonderful people in it. Okay. This organization is special because it is preserving our history. It is about helping, all people. And there's a place in this organization for anyone who may have a desire to become a part of it. There's something that you can do. I've been a volunteer now for, I've actually lost count, at least about 15 years, I think. I serve as the board chair currently. But there are so many opportunities for you to give of yourself, to give to the community, because this organization has been, I would say, gifted, but also uh, keepers of a very, very important building, and that is the one that Amy just spoke of. But the organization itself prides itself on teaching and sharing about the African American rural culture in the Sandhills, and that is something that all of us. This is something that where our roots began, I would say, and so we must keep it alive and keep it going, and put some of our time into making it even better. One way that we can do this is through the food tasting. We have an annual heritage food tasting where we sort of put on the back burner all of the things that we've learned about healthy eating, and we just enjoy the foods that were cooked by our ancestors, the way that they prepare them. It is a great day of celebration of the market closing and people coming together to fellowship and to enjoy this food and also help the organization. We hear music, it's a time to connect with our friends. Everything is held right on site under the market, and it's just a beautiful time. So I extend the invitation and encourage others to go on our website, learn about the organization, how you can become a part of it, and how you can preserve something that was started almost 20 years ago, because it is very important for not only for present, but for our children.
Do it for tonight's show, ladies and gentlemen. Join us next week, same time, same place, as we talk with my DNA cousins, Brian Hayes out of Chicago, Illinois, and Don Wright out of Buckatona, Mississippi, as we talk about the migration between Harnett County, North Carolina, Alabama, and Mississippi in the early 1850s to 1870s.